Hello, my name is Nuno and this is my implementation of the web API for a pizza delivery company. I'm going to do a simple walkthrough from my code. And so the first thing that we had to do for this homework was to have a way to to create users, to have their information edited, to delete them, and the required information to store was the name, email address, and street address. So most of the code on my web API is about the same that we have on the videos. So I'm just going to talk about my specific implementation on the handlers at least. So for handlers, I have four methods: post, get, put, and delete. For the posts methods, I'm requiring the following data, which is name, email, address, password, and TOS agreement. No optional data. So here in the first lines, we check that name, address, email, password, everything is valid. I'm not requiring anything specific, but for the email, I'm validating it through a regex, big regex, you can see here. Then on this condition, we check if everything is valid. If it is, we then are going to check the file system on the users folder if exists a file with that email as its name, file name. So if it exists, okay, we have read it successfully. Now we are going to hash the password and create the respective user object with all the info needed to store for that user. We are then going to invoke the create method from the data.js. And so if everything goes right, we get the callback with the 200 status code. If not, we get an error, of course. So this is the implementation for the post. Now about the get method. For the get, put, and delete, for these three methods, I'm requiring that a token is valid, which I'm talking after all users methods. So about the get I require on the URL for us to have a query string, which is email query string. We put email, and so if the email is valid, and we then are going to verify the token too, which goes on the headers of this request. If the token is valid, then we read the user's folder on the specific file for that user, and if it exists, okay, we give the information back to the user, but from that user object we delete the hashed password. We don't want that to be seen by the client. The next method we have implemented is put, which is used for update of information about the user. When we call for this method, we check that again if all information is valid. If it is, we verify the token, of course, and then we read the users to check if the users exist. If it exists, we change these fields of the user, and we update them here. The delete method is similar to the get method. We require a query string with the email. We check the token. If it is valid, we now are going to it's not only the user we delete here. We have more things to delete, things that are associated with the specific user, like the orders. We need to delete them. And we have this checks thing we need to delete too. So there's more things here we need to do. Clean all data associated with the user. So next thing I have here is the tokens handlers, which we have 4 methods: post, get, put, and delete, like users. On the post, for us to create a token for this user, we are requesting 2 fields, email and password. In this way we can validate that it is the right user. So we check on the users folder, on the right file, we check that it was the correct password that was typed. If it is, now we are going to create a new token. We create a new token. So we create a random string with 20 characters, and we make it in this field. We put the expiration date, which is the date from now till 1 hour. So this value I could on the future like pass it to the config.js file, which we have a lot of global variables. So then we create the corresponding token object with email, ID, expire date, and so we create this token inside the tokens folder like this. So we have here different tokens, and I think all of them are already expired, so I think it would be good to find a way to delete them in the future. Tokens that are not already valid, maybe they could be deleted. But this was not a requirement for the homework. Now on the get methods, what we need is on the query string. On the query string we need, let me see, the ID of the token. So this is the ID of the token. We get the ID of the token, and then we read on the tokens folder that specific ID, and we get all the information it has. Okay, then on the put method, so we can update information on what are we going to update. We are going to update the expiration of that token. So we just need to put the ID on the body of the request, the ID of the token, and we put true or false. If you put false, it does nothing. If you put true, we are going to extend the validity of the token by 1 more hour. By 1 more hour, I mean from the date we are now, 1 hour more. Then the delete method, we just need the ID, and it only deletes the token. Verify token method, which is used on users and things like that. What we do here is we read the token, we check if the email we provide on this function, if the email exists on the token data, and if it hasn't already expired. So the expired of the token data needs to be bigger than the date now. Okay, then so we already talked about users. So user can log in and log out by creating and destroying a token. Of course, we talked about tokens. It has that information. Then when a user log in, they should be able to get all the possible menu items. These items can be hard-coded into the system. Okay, so about the menus. I'm creating only a specific type of menu, which is pizza, on a JSON format. We have here everything is hard-coded. So we have 3 fields: code, name, and price fields. For menu, I have here 4 methods, but I haven't done much with them. But well, the get was the one that was required. We can get the menus with or without a token. It isn't required. We can put it on that, but it does nothing. So what it checks is we need a query string with menu type, which we only have pizza, so we need to put pizza. It must check if that menu type exists, and we get the info, all of the info. So this is a feature implementation, future, nothing done here. Then the for requirement was that the logged in user should be able to fill a shopping cart with menu items. And so this is the next thing we are going to talk. The cart, we have here 3 methods: post, get, delete. So the post we need for need email, item code, count, and the price to be passed as the body of the request. So we check everything. Count and price is a number. So if these fields are valid, we are going to let me check. Okay, so we can only do this if we have a token on the header. So we need it. If it's a valid token for this request, we are going to read the cart, because the cart can already have something there. For example, this is the information, how it will look like. So the ID is generated with a specific email for the user. We have an item list which will contain all of the items for this cart. So here we have, so to the cart, what we do is we get the items that were already there, and we push the new items we push a new item every time we call this method. For this array, and then we are going to update the cards. A method I'm calling here is the calc card totals, which is needed to update this info here at the end of this JSON. So here we have the total price of the items. Here we put the taxes and the total payment. I'm talking about this later. So this is if the cart exists already. If not, we are going to create a new shopping cart. So a new file will be created on this voucher cart. Then we have the get method. We need just token, a valid token on the header. So we just need to put on the path for this URL cart and the header, and we get the cart associated to the user, all of the information. Then we have here the calc cart totals. So here we pass the cart ID. With the cart ID we can open the respective file. We get the we are going to iterate through all the elements of the item lists array, and with that we can get the total price for the items. With the total price we can get the value that is going to be paid on taxes, and for that we have a config variable. We can later change it if we want it, and the total payment. And then we have the delete methods. So this is like the other deletes. We just need to provide a token, because this is associated, token is associated with the user, so it deletes the user's card. So the next thing is a logged in user should be able to create an order, and this needs to be integrated with a sandbox of stripe.com to accept the payment of the user. So we need to use it in a way that is used for testing with a specific code for a credit card. And okay, so about this. So the orders we have two things, the get and delete method. So the get, if we have an order, we can get the information of it if it exists. Okay, it's like the other get. Okay, so order, we just, okay, this is simple. Okay, this is what matters here, the checkout handler. So checkout is when we go to the payment, and I've only implemented the post method here. So about this method, this is the method that is important. we check that the token is valid and that the user provided a name associated with the payment. So name, credit card, expiring date and CVV. So we check that they exist. Okay, now we check at least these two things. Now we verify and the token needs to be valid, of course. And here we build the orders object. The orders object with all of the information, including payments information. Then we are going to call this important method, the one that uses the Stripe platform. And what do we need to send to them? We need to say how much they are going to pay. We need to send them the card number, at least this, like we have on their API. So we have here the methods, so a description too, and this tells us the amount, description, whatever. And so this is the details for this HTTP request we are going to do to the API stripe.com. This is the path. This is our secret key. So this is the data we are going to pass. We need to tell them the length. So we do the request and then we get a callback with status, with the transaction ID. Okay, so this is like we find on the website how we need to do it. Okay, so if this is good, we go to the next method. So when another order is placed, we do the payment, but we should email the user a receipt. So this is the last requirement for this homework, and to do that we need to integrate with the sandbox of mailgun.com to do this. So from there we get an account domain that we can send from by default. So this is the next thing I've done here on this checkout method. Now we create the order after the payment. So on the orders folder we create with the order ID that we've got here with 10 characters. We read the users. So we add this order ID to the users object, and it will be something like this: the orders file and we then are going to update the users with save the new user data. So here we get the email. of the user, and we send a simple email just with the order number. And so this number is like if the pet name is not found, so this we give the user, the client, a 404 status code. Okay, so this is my implementation of this web API pizza delivery, and next I'm going to use my REST client to test it.